Hello, everybody. Welcome once again to Counselor's Couch 101. I'm Jim Stump, and I thank you for your observations, comments, and emails. Appreciate them greatly. This week, we seem to be on the theme of loveless marriage, and it makes me wonder, is marriage a thing of the past? Is marriage something that no longer works? Marriage was often thought to be the building block of society, right? First starts with a couple together, they have children, that grows into a group, and that grows into a tribe, and that grows into a community, and that grows into a city state, and then a country, then a nation, and on and on. And it's all built up on the idea of the family. Is that a thing of the past? Do we no longer need those kinds of relationships in order to have a successful society? Will we interact with one another with as much positivity and respect without families and marriages? Would that work? Or would it become a darker, more angry place, a negative experience, and like that? What brings us up is I've been hearing this theme, like I say, of loveless marriage. Men have made the observation several times over years, and they said things like, it's like living with your sister, right? It's not that I want to get a divorce or anything. I'm not looking for other women, but it's just like we go home, we go through the whole idea of taking care of the needs of the family and the needs of the children, etc. But we don't really have much of a relationship anymore. And you kind of wonder, well, when the kids grow up and move away, what happens to that marriage? Does it disintegrate? Does it dissolve? Does it disappear, right? Or you just have two strangers or two related human beings living under the same roof, but there's no affection. Makes you wonder about that, loveless marriages. And I mentioned last time about the idea of promiscuity. A lot of the younger generation are extremely promiscuous. Is that going to create a problem later on? Are partners going to be jealous of one another because of past experiences? Is that going to be a problem in the future marriage? Or they're going to look beyond that and say, well, that was what was going on at the time, and now we're here and we're committed to each other and we like that idea. Another theme involved in this, excuse me 1 minute. Another theme involved is the whole idea of people say, I'm tired of running around. I want a partner, right? I'm tired of dating. I'm tired of keep trying to figure people out and, make allowances for folks and getting to learn how they are in the world and getting making allowances for their behavior and etc. I'm tired of all that. I just want one partner. I don't want to be single any longer. So is that going to be a factor in the future regarding marriages? Let's say we do have this situation. Just imagine yourself in this situation. You're in a marriage with a partner that you no longer love. Maybe you did at one time, and the love has fallen away. There's no affection. There's no regard. You're not mean to one another. You're not causing each other any grief, but at the same time, there's just not that desire to be close to that person, right? Does that mean then that you get jealous if they get their affection from other human beings? Many times, this usually happens. The wives usually say to the husbands, you can go out and have relationships with whomever you please. Just don't bring it home. Don't bring any diseases. Don't shame the family. Don't shame me. Don't make me feel like a fool in my own neighborhood, my own relatives, my own relationships. Don't do that. Don't bring any of it home. As long as you do that, you can do whatever you please because I don't care. Sometimes that happens because the couple is split up emotionally. Sometimes it happens because one of the two partners has lost interest in making love. They just don't care about it anymore. And they say, okay, you got a need, go deal with it because I'm not interested in providing that service any longer. Then what happens? What happens to our relationship at that point? Excuse me for that. It seems the pollen's getting to me again. I'm starting to cough. Got to take steps to overcome that. Anyway, what happens to that relationship at that point when there's no longer any physical intimacy, right? Do they say go out and get your needs met elsewhere? And does that not affect the relationship? Does that kill off any more of the lack of a emotional connection between the two people? In other words, does it get worse between the two of them if someone is out having relationships and et cetera, et cetera? I know folks that have lived together for years and never have any intimacy anymore, right? They don't touch. And I wonder, can we live like that and still be polite and gracious to one another? Does that work? Does that fulfill a need to have that family and that family relationship? Oftentimes, folks who settle for that kind of thing say, look, I like the situation I have now. I like the fact that we have family. I like going to the kids' events and so forth. And I'm looking forward to having grandchildren and all that. I like my place in the community. I like my house. I like where we live. I like our financial situation. So therefore, I'm willing to deal with all the rest of it. I'll just let it be for the sake of having all these good things. All right. So, and a lot of people are living together and not getting married. That's because they fear the financial devastation that comes with divorce, right? The divorce rate is sky high and through the roof, and they're thinking, why go through that? If we're going to break up in a number of years, why not just not get married and then not have that legal entanglement? We'll decide between the two of us how we're going to arrange our finances and division of property and et cetera, et cetera. We don't need to bring in lawyers and judges and courts and all that expense. So they're choosing to live with one another. So is that also an indication that marriage is no longer needed in society? And there's another idea connected with all of this is the idea of the pendulum swinging, right? They say everything goes around. We swing way over to the left when we're very, very open and things are promiscuous and free. And then we swing all the way to the right and we become conservative and wanting to have stability and some sort of confidence in our relationships, etc. So all this stuff is going on, and should we put marriage outside of that conversation, or should we say, okay, let's wait till it comes back over and we come back to a more conservative viewpoint as a culture? And do we think we need marriages going forward? There are people out there that think the government should raise the children, right? I don't know who's going to produce the children. Maybe like in certain cultures, only certain people are allowed to produce children, and then the government raises them. Is that going to be a solution, right? Just things to think about and ponder. And I wonder what your ideas are, because there seem to be so many dissatisfied married people, right? I'm sure there are many satisfied married people, and I'd like to hear from you. And tell us what the satisfactions are and what you get out of the relationship and how you made it become successful and something that is cherished by the partners. Tell us how you did that. Do you think we're going to swing back to a conservative culture, or are we going to keep going forward to breaking relationships apart? I'd like to know all your thoughts on these things, because they affect the future not only of ourselves, but of our neighborhood, our community, and our culture and our world, our country to be, when it comes down to it. It's going to affect it's going to affect the future of our country when it comes down to it. What are your thoughts? What do you think we should be doing? How would you convince someone to go one way or the other? Whatever you think on these ideas, I'd certainly love to hear your ideas, and please share them and put them in comments so other people can see what you're thinking and react to other thoughts that are out there about this subject. Loveless relationships, should they be welcomed? Should they be accepted? Should be the way we go? Or should we, before I go, it brings up another point. That's the idea of having children. Would it be better to have children in a love relationship rather than children in a loveless relationship? Wouldn't the society be served better if only people who wanted to be with one another had children and raised them together? Would that produce a better culture and a better country, a better society, right? People who wanted to be together and wanted to have those children. Would that be better? And then the offshoot of that is, if you haven't found that partner that you love, maybe you shouldn't be having those children, right? Is that something that would be acceptable for folks in the future? If we're not in love and we don't want to raise children together, we simply will remain single and we will not have children. Would that be a solution? and then what happens to the population and what happens to the culture. These are things that are coming across my conversations lately. I find them interesting, and I'm wondering what all of you think of those sorts of things. So please share ideas. Put comments below. Send me those emails. I really appreciate having them. Thanks for dropping by. I look forward to talking with you next time, and have a blessed day.